Have you ever been unsure of how far away you are from the spike before it arms and blows you and your teammates sky high? Well, fear not. If you look at the sound bubble on your map, the edge of it is the range of the spike. Simply place the edge of your sound bubble near where the spike is planted and you're going to be safe from the explosion. We are here to show you 15 tips you may not have known in Valorant, so brace yourselves and let's get into it. While we're on the topic of the spike, let's show you how you can tell how much time you have left on the spike. I personally play at Immortal and Radiant level, and I notice all the time that players don't know the timer. You'll notice an orb spawns around the spike when there are 7 seconds remaining. Since the spike takes 7 seconds, if you're not on it by then, you can no longer defuse the spike. And remember, the spike lasts for only 45 seconds total, so don't dilly-dally, get on that spike. I bet you already knew that when playing against a Yoru in his ultimate, blue indicators are going to appear on your screen. It used to signal that Yoru was near you, but now it just means that you are in his line of sight. This means he could be very far away from you, so as long as you're in his line of sight, you're gonna have the indicator. Eco rounds. We love to win them, so let's talk about how to increase your eco win rate drastically. And we're going to talk about winning eco rounds on attacker first. Honestly, just stop taking 1v1 fights in the open when you only have a sheriff against their vandal. Give yourself as many opportunities to take one fight and fall off. By taking one shot, falling off, pre-aiming where they'll next swing, and then rinsing and repeating, you're going to give yourself 4 or 5 more fights than you would have gotten by just standing in the open. If they're not peeking you, just play smart and look for picks around the map. Play with a buddy system so you're always tradable, or even just spread out as 5 to cover a lot of ground. You're really not as disadvantaged as you think you are in eco rounds. So play your eco rounds smart because, remember, they're always winnable. On the topic of eco rounds, it's also smart to either rat in corners that they can't clear easily with shorties or frenzies, or call for a play. My favorite way to win an eco round is to call for a play from my team while playing defense. A simple mid push with a flash and a smoke has net me a lot of eco round wins. Not only does this serve to overwhelm the enemy team, but it also throws off the tempo of the game by throwing 5 players at them from the get-go. On Ascent, you can actually jump on top of these boxes here with any agent, no boost required. Just make sure you're crouch jumping at the corner right here. This angle, it's already pretty strong, but being able to put up any agent up here makes its potential that much more insane. Here on Seaside Haven, you're able to crouch jump onto Backplat. This can save you a ton of time if you're late to set up. This can also be used to surprise any defenders retaking or to clear back sight a bit easier when taking the site. Omen can Teepee on top of the Lotus revolving doors. This can be amazing when paired with a well-placed smoke. Just simply throw your smoke down, Teepee on top of the door, and make some of the nastiest plays known to man. This jump here on Ascent is one of the most underutilized jumps on the map. This can be pretty strong in a 1v1 situation when the enemy is pushing down. You can easily tuck behind one of the boxes and take them by surprise. This can also be very good if you have a teammate holding your stairs on defense. If your team's holding your stairs, you can play around this box and take a lot of players completely off guard. The next tip we have is hiding on site to either delay plant or wait for your team. Ascent is a great example for this. Now, quite often, I sit in hell if my team isn't near and I want to stay alive. You should almost never be good for one in this position, but the reality is, even at Immortal, players don't clear this angle religiously. This means you can hide here, and if somebody walks by, you can get one and take another fight later. And hopefully by then, your team's ready to assist you in the retake. Fast retakes are crazy and can work in any elo. If you're having a lot of trouble holding sight, or you're alone and 5 players are pushing you, get off site. Play for a fast retake. Calm to your team that you want to commit to a fast retake. Now, the second they start to plant the spike, hit them with everything you've got, drop smokes in, dump flashes, run out with your team, and land some good trades. A pick gained doesn't mean you have to go where you got the pick. I see it all the time. A pick is gained for attackers, and they go into full-on fight mode. They instantly push into where they got the pick, only to run into 2 or 3 more players in a strong setup. Remember that you can breathe, take a small breather, Get your bearings. Think about where you got the pick. Think about how the defenders are going to likely react. Gaining a pick forces the enemy team to shift their remaining players to cover gaps, creating a weak point somewhere in their defense. It's very important to pinpoint where they're the weakest rather than push into what could still be their strongest point. So, take a second, breathe, and think about your next move. Stop lurking every round. This is an important tip that not everyone can grasp. The power of a lurk comes from being unexpected in that position. If you lurk every single round, the enemy team is going to be hyper aware of this and you'll barely get anything done for your team. And if you're getting kills by doing it every round, it's usually after your team is beyond helping, as both sides are actively engaged in fights. This means your round would have been better spent by assisting your team actively rather than slowly walking through the enemy lines looking for a pick. Lurking is great, don't get me wrong, but doing it every round is not. Now I bet you didn't know this, but sometimes with Cipher you'll miss a cage, but luckily you can still retrieve it if you're within range. But did you also know that you can retrieve it by using your Cipher Cam? This can be a very useful tip if your cage is out of range in pre-round. And for our final tip, don't be afraid to use ultimates to sell a fake. Faking is an essential mechanic for winning rounds against players that tend to over-rotate. Now, luckily, fakes are easy against these teams, but you must make the fakes believable. 1 or 2 smokes into the enemy lines won't draw many rotates against a smart team. Now, sometimes it is worth it to fake by using a Phoenix ult or even a Killjoy ultimate. When using a Killjoy ultimate, it's smart to use it as a fake when they have Sova ult or an ult that can break your lockdown and plan on destroying it either way. We know that a couple of these tips may have been basic knowledge, but we're hoping that everyone that watched this video to this point learned a couple of useful things that they can throw in their toolkit. Let us know in the comments if you learned something from this video, and feel free to share some obscure and cool tips of your own for everyone to see. We read the comments also, so let us know what you'd like to see in an in-depth video on next.
Alright though guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little bit more about SkillCapped. So we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and we think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's kind of like a gym membership guaranteeing you that you're gonna get ripped. Your local gym probably go bust if they offered you that. But not us, because we've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium Valorant guides on the internet. We add new courses every month with over 1,000 guides curated into over 50 courses. No one can compare. We also have a direct line of communication with subscribers in our Discord so that you can get connected immediately to some of the best players in the game who will respond to every question you ask. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you're serious about improving your game. So that's going to be all for this one today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.